there's hidden emotions and a lot that goes on, and specifically for men that we're here. And I know, Max, we can touch on the important. What is the importance of speaking about and highlighting mental health?
Well, it's stigmatized, right? You don't hear too much people talk about it often, and especially for men. So it's great to have three men speak on it from that perspective. But I think it's something that we all go through. It's kind of like the hidden sick. I don't want to use the word sickness, but it's kind of like the hidden obstacle that we all have. Most people do have, and we all go through in some way or some sort of form.
And I mean, Wolf, with you and starting Mental Balance, how do you think that process was? Because I feel like there's a vulnerability when you accept that, okay, I'm going to come out and create a platform, because it also helps yourself, but you're helping a lot of other people, and you've been able to grow your band. So let's take it from the beginning.
I mean, it's tough, right? So my birthday is in October 17th, and for 26 years of my life, I shared that birthday with someone else. So, you know, to not be able to, you know, my brother's no longer here with us, to not be able to go about my birthdays in the regular way and share it with somebody, it was tough for sure. And, you know, he was missing for, you know, the 2 years. They had just found his body last year, November. So we're jumping from my birthday in October, which is a very emotional time, to November, which is like the time we found his body, and we had a funeral, so back to back. And now it's winter. You know, the depressions that naturally come with it being winter. Your mind takes you, man. Like, to this day, it's been, I mean, he's been dead since 2018, and it's 2021. I still get, like, you can probably hear my voice, right? I still get the shakes talking about it. It's still very uncomfortable for me. And I realized, you know, we're 30 now. Like, God, we're 30 now.
We're all 91s right here. So we're all 91 right now.
We're 30 now. So, like, I thought to myself, imagine, you know, when I was going through my situation, I had enough money saved up to run away, to go on vacations, to just, like, I wasn't acting like anything was wrong to the public eye. Like, I was doing everything the most to not be aware of what I was actually dealing with. And then I thought, dang, like, we got, you know, if you look in the city of Toronto, we got 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds who don't have the finances to run away from their problems and are sitting at home, and, you know, the mind is just taking them. You know, they say that revenge is like, that stuff will have you doing some stuff because you feel like you owe it to the person to, you know, find out what happened, you know, especially as men nowadays, especially black men in Toronto, you know, the world will have you feeling like if you don't retaliate, you're a sucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, for back letter words, like, you're a loser if you don't retaliate. So if I sit at home and I do nothing, and I just sulk about it, that makes me less of a man. So for a while I was like scheming, like just in my head, like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna go about this? And then I sat there and I was like, yo, this is exactly what's going on. You know, hurt people because of their traumas and their lived experience in their mind, and their mind is telling us this, and social media is telling you this, and the rap music's telling you this, and it was hard. So I really just started Mental Balance just as a conversation at first. Just, you know, let me be real, people. Because people are like, yo, you look like you're doing so good, and I'm proud of you and stuff. But the good thing about social media is you can really post whatever you want to post. Like, you can fake the whole funk. You can post all the happy moments and not say a word about the bad stuff. You know, the wins. You could just talk about your wins and no losses, and people will eat it up, they'll soak it up like you're doing amazing. So I didn't feel like I was being real to myself. I didn't feel like I was being respectful of my brother, just showing that I was happy. So I wanted to tell people, like, no, like, every single day I wake up, like, take this for example. There's a song that I know I can play that will make me cry. I had to get that out there before I go into the public and start speaking or present myself, because I don't want to tear up or do some crazy stuff during that period. So I have a routine. Like, every morning I let it go, because when I step out, I'm stepping out headstrong and chest high, right? So that's how Mental Balance got started. And then I started reaching out to people. You know, it's crazy. People started messaging me, like, people I don't even know were like, yo, I really, you know, resonated with what you said, and I have a story. And we would just talk for like hours. I don't even know these people, and we were talking for hours, and like both parties are crying and tearing up. And that's when I realized, you know, you're not the only person going through your struggle. Like, a lot of people will sit at home and play the victim, or, you know, like, just have regrets. But the biggest thing we can understand as black men is, don't let Instagram fool you. Like, we're all literally going through the same stuff, the same pain in our own ways. And the more we speak about it, the more you realize, I thought that Max was like the motivation guy, and like he's doing this, but Max has, aside from money, Max still has to deal Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we don't know what Max is doing on those days. He might be super motivated for us on a Monday, and Tuesday is his day to really break and gather himself. So I felt like we all need to just stop. Not that everybody's faking it, but let's be more real. Let's put our feelings out there to show people like, Hybrids is doing really well, cool. Mental Balance is doing well. Motivation Mondays is doing well. But we still got stuff we got to do outside of the lives and the posts and stuff. So that was big for me.
One key thing I took from that, Max, I want you to analyze is you talked about a routine. And I feel like sometimes in life we're put in situations where like we didn't ask for these situations. You have a decision. You can either sit down and complain about it or do something about it. And then on top of that, putting yourself out, that's a lot. Like, because you're dealing with like 3 different stages. 1, accepting whatever the reality is. 2, okay, what am I going to do about it? And then 3, I got to put myself out there. I got to be the person behind the brand when I was used to 2. So, Max, I want us to touch on like why it's so important to accept and understand like when there's a calling that's put for us and we have to get a routine that's going to help uplift us, we stick to that routine, because that's you aware that, okay, if I'm going to be here and putting myself in the public to speak, I got to make sure that I'm good when I'm speaking. I don't break down, and it's okay to break down. It's okay to tear up. It's okay to, we're men. That's what I think I like about mental health, that men are now accepting the fact that, okay, we don't have to be the tough guy all the time. We don't always have to be that guy like, okay, I'm the man of the house. It's okay. Let it go. If you have tears, let it go. We all, like, the one key thing that I like that you talked about is we all go through things in life.
Yeah, and like you just said, well, the sense of showing vulnerability is not weakness. We have this thing about if you're vulnerable, you're weak, but it actually shows strength. It actually shows that this is a part of your life where you need to work on, face your fears, face the things that are troubling you, to hinder your life, to start focusing on where it is that you need to focus on. And when we talk about routine, everybody needs a routine, right? It's not so much as for you to have a schedule, but it actually plays a role in your biological role, like your circadian rhythm, things to do. It's a sense of living. So even if things goes bad, like I'm gonna bring this up, even when people go to therapy and there's nothing for them to look forward to. Just the concept of getting out of bed, it starts as little as that, getting out of bed, brushing your teeth. It's something to do that day. So that plays a role into you getting back to who you were or who you believe to be. So routine is very important. So him mentioned about his routine, getting up every morning, that starts his day. If you don't have a routine, is in essence kind of like, what am I to do today? Do I have a sense of existing, right? So having a routine is so important when we go through tough times. That's part of being mental health and just taking care of ourselves. It's like the first check mark on the board is that we exist, that we have a purpose, that we have something to do, something to look forward to. And it's not so much as how important it is, it's just having something to do in itself.
I think to touch on that, which is a big thing, I say civvy side because a lot of people don't know outside of Hybrids, Mental Balance, like the bike stuff and all that stuff that I do is my full time and my, like, who Omar was before all this. Like, I'm a soldier. Like, that's my job. I'm part of the Canadian Army. I love it. Like, I teach right now, so new soldiers join and I teach them how to play toy soldiers sometimes. But a big part of that was I had listened to a speech from like an admiral in the Navy in the States, and one of the things he said was, every day you need to start off with completing a task to say that you did something, like you put a check in the box. And then, someone asked him what that was, and he said, every morning I make sure I get up and I spread my bed. Get up and spread your bed. A lot of us just, we roll out of bed late, or we just leave it there. Complete a task in the morning, like get something done to say, yeah, check mark, you did this, spread the bed. So I get up, and there's days where, like today, because Evan gave me wrong timings, I rolled out of bed and I almost left the house without spreading the bed. And that's like, I can't do that. I gotta spread the bed because it gives me that sense of, yes, I completed a task. I can step forward into the next task, and that's the first check in the box. It goes back to what Max is saying about like feeling like you have a purpose to get up to start your day with something that is meaningful to you. So I do my spread the bed. I do like 15 minutes of just thinking. Then I do my cry in the shower, and that task is big because I let it out. Like I start the day with all the possibilities that this conversation could have brought us to. I went through it in my head. I prayed for a bit. I spoke to my bro and I said, yo, we're going to make this happen. A lot of people get drowned by the overwhelming fear of putting themselves out there, because I mean, honestly, right now, there's a lot of positive stuff in my DMs. There's a lot of positives. Yeah, there's a lot of negatives too. There's a lot of trollers. There's a lot of people that don't want to see you do well. There's a lot of people that are out there for like, you know, I remember when I was in Barbados and I was on the jet skis and having time of my life, and someone was in DMs like, yo, you out there jet skiing and flying on water, you should be looking for your bro. I was like, yo, I'm there on the jet ski, like, and I'm like, dang. For me right now, it's like, you know, me and my brother shared a big fear. Like, I can swim in there, whatever, but open water is like a big fear for me. Even though I'm always out there, I just feel like a shark is gonna come get you, right? And I stood with the jet ski and I looked around. I was like, I kind of wish a shark did come get me right now, right? Because I felt like that person was right. Like, imagine me, you know, month 4, I'm out here jet ski on water, and this guy's nowhere to be found, and I'm living. I haven't slid on nobody yet. I haven't really pressed nobody. And yo, people in my DMs just trolling me like, you know, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're not looking for your bro. And that had me like depressed for a while. Even to this day, sometimes I think about it like, did I go about it the right way? Like, yeah, we can talk about how well it looks like I'm doing this stuff, but I still get up in the mirror and like, even my mom, she'll catch herself, she'll be like, yo, you look like, and she won't say it. I know she wants to say I look like my bro. Like, there's certain expressions that he'll do, you know, like he was just more aggressive. So nowadays I'm naturally becoming more aggressive because I'm just upset all the time. And she'll be like, yo, you look like him today. And then I feel bad because like my parents probably look at me like I'm a constant reminder of their other son, like their twin. I never really looked at it in the beginning like, I'm just thinking that's my brother, but I'm forgetting, yo, that's their son. And that's their firstborn son. So like they lost her, and now they have a constant reminder. We're very awkward. Like, they're probably looking at me like I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to say nothing to them. And we're all kind of like not trying to hurt each other's feelings and stuff. So it's it's different, man. It's a choice. Like, that positive get up every morning. You know, before I came on the show with you guys, like, I would watch your stuff every Monday because I need a motivation. Mondays are shit naturally. So like, I just want to hear some positive stuff for my week. So love what you guys are doing here. And for everyone watching, it's just as vulnerable as I can be. I don't even like to get like this because we still got to go outside, and I don't want anybody to come and think that, like, you know, like Wolf is a soft one, but it's real. Like, I get real soft sometimes, a lot more times than people think, and I try to smile. Most times people see me as usually like, you know, soca parties are my thing. Like, I'm there having a great time and I'm laughing, but there's the prior and the after to that, and that's what no one sees. And I'm not posting that on Instagram for you guys to come and have a one up on me kind of thing. Like, this is the happy stuff. Let's leave it at that. I'll post a couple real stuff here and there, but the real, I don't drive by. My brother's buried by Highway 7 and Highway 50, and I just, out of respect, I never drive by without stopping. And then some days I stand there, I'm like, am I really doing this right now? Like, are you really there and not here? You know, we spoke last night, and I'm like, hybrids has gone in the last 2 years, like, to the Instagram people who are famous, it might not be a lot, but I seen that thing jump from $2,000 to $6,000, and I'm like, holy, like, I'm telling my bro, like, yo, this is crazy, like 6,000 followers. I don't know 6,000 people. So, you know, it means a lot to see that, to see people on the road wearing it, people on the road who don't know me wearing it. It's cool, but it's depressing too, because, you know, you sit there and you're like, I just want to call them, like, yo, I just saw someone, and you can't do that, right? And who else am I gonna share that with? Like, so it's a lot for sure, but day by day kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
And then the name, the beautiful part I like is the balance. And on that, I feel like in life, everybody got to find your balance, or else you'll really go crazy. And when you have a calling and purpose, it becomes even more work, because, you know, for guys like us who work for ourselves and who are entrepreneurs, like, you got to understand the outside world. People are working every day. If you ain't working, like, if you're sleeping, somebody's up working. But you have life, like what you said in the beginning, where you have life to deal with. What would you say is kind of some of the most important things in order to find a balance to become your better self, to do what your calling is without getting lost?
You know what, you gotta be nice to yourself. You definitely have to be nice to yourself, and you have to understand that we're all humans and no one's perfect. The reason why I like the balance is obviously because hybrids and the two wolves, like, our logos, like, of the two wolves tied, but it's tied more so because it represented me and my brother being, like, inseparable. But when we like transition and we develop the brand to being, you know, the good and the bad in life, you got to realize like when you're living, like there is no good without the bad. Like that is a balance you must understand. You won't like, I think a pastor said it like, the prerequisite for triumph is suffering. No man will escape suffering. You have to suffer. Look at any of your idols, any of your professional athletes, the guys you follow, the rappers, and do their story. Like I'm a big Dave East fan, and like if you follow him, he went through the mud the last 3 years. He lost like 4 friends, and you know we look at him like, oh, so successful, all this stuff, and it's like, but look what he went through to get to this point. I think a lot of people just think that life is just gonna be, you know, flowers and rainbows, and when the bad stuff happen, they get super down, like it's not supposed to be happening. Not like that's supposed to happen. That stuff will build you. You have to go through that. You can't just, you know, no athlete's just gonna become an athlete and not get that pump in the gym where they don't feel sore the next day and they can't move. You have to struggle. You have to get through that. It's hard because one of the biggest things I try to tell people all the time, particularly with me, and why I did that was because I didn't want people to have this amazing positive light on Omar Wolf, and then one day hear that I got into a scuffle and was boxing up some kid, like something happened, I got into a fight. People are looking at me like, isn't that the mental balance guy? Isn't that the guy that's supposed to be so positive? I did that because I truly believe, like, and I mean, I think we can all agree, sometimes we all want to walk away from situations. We want to turn the shoulder. We want to be the good guy to like turn the other way. But me personally, sometimes people gotta get punched in the face. Like, and I say that like to say that, and that's not figuratively. You can take it as literally as if you want. I mean, sometimes it is literal, but sometimes you can't walk away from certain situations, and you have to address it in a manner where you stand your ground, and you stand firm. And then there's sometimes you do have to walk away. That line is, everybody has a different line. Like you gotta look at yourself and say, what am I willing to take in life? What kind of disrespect am I willing to take? And what am I not willing to take? And that's the balance in life. Understanding that, yeah, this is the time to walk away. And understanding that, now I gotta stand my ground. But then also understanding the consequences that come with both decisions. Like, you gotta know the good and the bad. When you make a decision, there's a pros and there's cons. You sign up for this, you make a decision, you gotta live with it. That's the balance right there. I don't wanna get into the politics street stuff, but they always say, when you do some dirt, you sign up for all these things that come with it. And a lot of people do this stuff and forget, like,
the consequences, every action.
Forget being arrested and stuff. But there's guys who, you know, there's professional thieves, there's professional robbers who, you know, there's professional there's all these people who come with these decision making. You know, let's put it to a good side too. You want to go to school for 4 years and you want to get a degree, and you hope to get that job after. There's pros to that, but there's also cons. You could have wasted your whole 4 years and not gotten the job and not being in the field you want to be. All that money gone to waste. COVID kind of showed us that too, right? Like, there's pros and cons to everything. It's not just she said. Like, you can go your whole life, go to school, do everything how, you know, your parents said you should do it, and not get the job you wanted to. Like, right now, I have a BA in law and justice, and I'm teaching in the military. Like, it's cool now, and I like it, but I could have done that without the BA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have just went straight Army, did that, now I had the BA. There's pros to having the BA, and I like it because obviously there's some things in school. School teaches you certain things that streets can't teach you, and same vice versa. And one of the big things about school I like is you learn how to communicate with people and articulate yourself in a different way that, you know, we wouldn't get every day talking to our friends. Connections, meeting people, things like that. But school's expensive. You could waste all that money and not get anything out of it. And that's the life hybrids are trying to put out, the balance between everything, understanding that there's no good without the bad, and everything there's pros and cons. You gotta make decisions, live with them, and accept them, and understand that this may happen. I'll be very honest with everybody when it comes to my brother's situation in particular. There was days where we would fight because I'd be like, yo, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? And, you know, his responses were certain things. And now looking at how everything played out, sometimes I sit and I just get mad at him in my head. I'm like, bro, like, this was a decision. This didn't just happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as, like, we can say what we want, this didn't just happen. Decisions were made, consequences happen, and the result is where we're at right now. So I have to, as a grown man, I got to look at that and be okay with it too. Like, people make their decisions, right? Like, we're twins. I'm in the Army. He wasn't in the Army. I did this. He didn't do that. Could have went vice versa. Could have done the same thing. Could have not. we gotta live with those decisions. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to mental health is the regret of some decisions you made, and the hope, the wish that you could go back in time and do a little more, say a little more, try a little harder. But in the last 4 years, I realized that everything really be happening how it's supposed to happen. Like, it's sad when you really like think about it. It's sad, but if that didn't happen, I promise you, I wouldn't be Wolf today. I wouldn't be this man who lives so aggressively, so passionately, gets the job done. I would just still be like, the other twin. Like, I was very like just having fun, living life, like whatever, just walking around like, okay, cool. And he was more like getting stuff done. And when that happened, I felt like I gotta start living with a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more passionately, a little bit more purposefully, like Max said. And everything I've accomplished today, not that I wouldn't have done it, but I don't think I would have done it now if he was still around. And maybe, like, to get a little bit more personal, the last words he said to me was like, yo, don't worry, we're gonna be good just now. And maybe that was God telling him, like, okay, he's done his part, now you gotta do your part, and we're gonna be good. Like, the family's gonna be good if I just do what I'm supposed to do now. He passed on the torch, and now I'm here kind of just, So it gets depressing when you think about it like that, but at the same time, that's the biggest respect you can do to people who have passed, that loved ones that is to live life, because they can't live life. There's no other thing about it. They would die. They would love to trade spots with you. So don't disrespect them and not live life, not get stuff done. Don't be in your bed sulking all day. Take your 5 minutes, get up and go outside, because that's life. Things happen and you gotta live with it. So I don't know. I can only put out like the real life that I live and hope that other people get motivated by it. Other people don't sit at home and cry, because I do it. And it's okay to take a full day. Like, there's 7 days in a week. It's okay to take a full day. Don't let nobody tell you different. Like, I be playing some TV shows, some movies. Take a full day and just be to yourself. Like, it sounds cliche, but I'll cry a lot, and then I'll just watch like Harry Potter series all day just to kind of get back into happy mode and then reset. It's okay, but what's not okay is letting days go by, letting your mind just get taken by the negatives. Hybrids and mental balance is not about good over bad or negative or positivity. It is about the balance. You will not, this pain that I feel is never gonna go away. It's never gonna go away. That was my twin brother. I have a nephew, I have a niece, and one day when I have kids, like, and they say, hey, like, your brother, sister, I gotta tell them, like, yo, I had a twin. I had a guy who just looked just like me. This will always come up. This will always be a thing, like, and I have to accept that. And the best way for me to move on is to accept it, speak highly about the situation, stand proud on it, and say, yeah, like, this will happen, this will happen. Now we're here, and we're doing this, and that's just how it's supposed to go. So when I see guys like yourself, we've been friends for like 15 years plus, right? So it's hard because you know him, I know him, and look back at each other, and I'm sure people still look at me like his friends, they can't even look at me. Like, the friends that are just his, not my friends, like, yo, you just look just like your brother. I met friends at the funeral from the States that he went to school with, and I've never seen these people, and they never seen me, and they're like, holy, like, they just start crying right away. And that stuff, it gets touchy. His daughter's 10 now, she's huge. She got like a gap in her teeth like we used to have when we were younger, so I'm looking at her like, yo, you're gonna need those braces. Like, and her mom's like, that came from you guys, and I'm like, shit, like, oh, I feel like we got to pay for that. But I look at her sometimes and it's scary because she has this strength, like, she's looking at me, comforting me, like a 10-year-old girl looking at me like, it's okay, and I'm like, you're not supposed to be telling me it's okay, right?
Vice versa, but
but he speaks through her, like, he lives through that little girl. So Motivation Mondays, right?
Yeah, it's real. Like today, so when I called you to come up, I wanted to get some questions and put it, but I'm like, when it comes to mental health, we're just gonna sit down, lay it down, and have this conversation. And the one thing I love from what you just talked about is we all have that power of choice.
100%.
And that power of choice, I know I'm gonna let Max speak on that after too, but it's a real thing. Like, we can't sit there and act like the world is against us, and like, I gotta, because this happened to me, it's okay to sit back, I'm gonna relax. Like you said, take a break. but understand you have life to deal with. And you know, it's crazy because we all just seen yesterday Virgil Abloh, rest in peace to him, where he passed away. But the crazy part about it is he was dealing with cancer for 2 years. And now everybody's more shocked, like, oh my goodness, we cannot believe this is what he was dealing with. And we never know what people are going through in life. You have no idea. So I always encourage people to be nice and like a smile, like opening the doors, just certain things, because you have no idea what people are dealing with. And we don't really want to add to it. It's like we were talking about when you're on vacation, when people have no idea, when you're just trying to get your mind right, and then that conversation of communication, the line of communication can throw somebody off. But at the end of the day, you have that power choice to let it affect you, or you analyze, see where it's at, and then move on.
100%, 100%.
And Max, I think what's the unique thing when it comes to the power of choice, when it comes to our mind and decisions we make for a better future for ourselves?
Well, like he said, taking full responsibility for everything that happens to us, right? I think comes with the power of choice, good or bad, the outcome. You know, humans have the tendency, what we call attribution biases, where anything goes wrong, we blame external forces, and everything that goes right in our life, we blame internal. But the minute we take full responsibility and we realize, self-reliance, that we're in control of our happiness, right? And then with our happiness, like he also mentioned, it's about balance, the other side. Like I see all the time, when we experience happiness, if you don't know what sadness is, right? We know darkness. When we know darkness, we don't know what the light is, right? So it's like welcome all events, right? It's the human experience. It's what we call life, right? Good or bad, welcome it all. It's what shapes you, what makes you, you know? I know this is probably overused. They say God gives the toughest battles to the strongest soldiers, but it builds characters, right? To deal with what else is coming next, right? And some of these things might break others, some of these things might make others. But the key to understand that it happens to us in all different kind of forms and ways. And like we talk about taking responsibility, the power of choice, everything that comes with it determines, but it's not what happens to us, it's what we do about what happens to us, right? It's not our circumstance or situation that makes it, it's what we do about those circumstances, those situations. So that's the point of view. I just want all of us to have that point of view looking at life, that we take full responsibility for everything that happens to us. It's the decision that we make today actually, and not leave it upon nobody else to dictate our future for us, because your sense of worth or happiness shouldn't be based on anybody else. Nobody should care about you more than you should care about yourself.
100%. I feel like a lot with that too is, you know, how we feed our minds and feed our souls, right? So I wasn't a huge rap fan before like 2018. I started listening to Dave East in like 2017, and a lot of his music was like very, like it spoke to my soul. Like when everything happened, I was like he was rapping about losing one of his best friends, and it just spoke to my soul. And I like, if I could meet any rapper, I'd meet him for sure, just to kind of sit at a table and be like, dang, like how'd you get through it? But also one of the things I caught myself doing too was his music is good when it comes to relatability, but then there's also the negative connotation that also comes with that music as well, right? You get a little bit more aggressive, you get a little bit more like you want to, like that, the rap community, like the rap culture right now is very much into the whole sliding and you know, killing ops and all that kind of stuff. And I had to catch myself, because like I'd be driving around and just like, yeah, let me go, like, you know, and just negative thoughts. And one day I just woke up and I started playing Whitney Houston. I was like, you know what? This is back to the balance. Like that era we grew up on, I think this generation is missing, is that soul music that we all grew up on, the R&B and stuff like that. I think we're missing a little bit more of that, because rap and gangster music has been around for years. So that's not really an excuse to say that this is feeding your mind. But we also grew up on the Michael Jacksons, the Whitney Houstons, the Bob Marleys, our parents playing the culture music in the house. And nowadays we're all just playing trap music. And it kind of messes with your mind a little bit, because if you like, you know, music is something that can teach you so much just because it's repetition, and you're hearing the words, you're hearing the music. But if we just keep feeding our minds that, alongside of amazing shows, like kudos to 50, but that music alongside shows like Power, you know, Ghost, all that stuff, you kind of start building.
You add fuel to the fire.
You start building this repertoire in your mind of, like, and it's more feeding, and you know, we talk about the two wolves, it's more feeding that dark wolf. It's more letting that dark wolf roam freely in your mind, whereas you need to balance it out now. And that's what soca does for me. Like I be at soca parties, like it really gets me happy and it reminds me that life is so precious, and it's not always about rapping about killing people and, you know, doing this and doing that. Like you have to be very, very mindful of you know, they say the people you're around and who you surround yourself with, that also applies to how you feed yourself. Like, watch who you surround yourself with 100%, because that stuff, I tell you right now, I had a group of friends who were with the shits and like, let's go, let's make it happen. And, you know, they were very much so like, yo, we need to do this right now. And then I had another group of friends that was like, yo, bro, no, you know, less RIP t-shirts, more like, bro, don't do it type stuff. Like, I had a lot of good friends. Obviously, the army was very like involved in my life too. So I had a lot of good people in my corner that were making me stay on the right track. But brings us back to the feel for the younger generation who don't have that support system. That, you know, they got 1-2 friends and they're all being affected because, you know, I lose Max, but you lose Max too. So now we're both kind of feeling the same pain. And we're like, you know what? Forget it. Let's go, you know, do what we got to do. We don't have a lot of that community support behind, you know, don't do it. Let's find another way. Let's turn this pain and suffering into positive things. Let's see how we can spin the narrative. But forget the people around. You yourself have to take responsibility for this intake, your intake in your soul and your mind. That's the music, that's the TV shows, that's your surroundings, that's what you watch, everything. It all has to do like how you're feeding yourself. You know, a good diet is not just eating well, eating good food and working out. A good diet, I'm honestly gonna say nowadays, mentals is more than physicals. Like, even when I'm playing sports, I'm starting to realize it. Your mentality will take you places your body cannot take you. And in life, anything you do, any type of success you're trying to achieve, your mind has to arrive there first. Your mind has to see you being rich. Your mind has to see you driving this car. Your mind has to see you, like, I think Drake posted it the other day when he was talking about, you know, they used to rent the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, his birthday.
And yeah, his birthday. And like, you know, they were putting that energy out there. They were just manifesting. I'm not saying go rent a Rolls Royce and get crazy.
He also be put that in the cafeteria. He's like, hey, I'm not saying this is the way to go.
That's not the way to go. Like, you don't have to get a Rollie the biggest thing on Instagram right now is I think who's Ocho Cinco talking about the earrings and stuff.
Yeah, the clears $10.
The clears $10. Yeah, listen, I'm more of the just don't wear it then. Like, but if you feel like that's gonna help your appearance, cool. You just have a plan. Don't go out there and do what the world's doing because everybody got bust down chain. Doesn't mean you have to have a bust down chain. You could bring something else to the table. If you feel like the bust down chain is part of your plan to make it happen, yo, that makes sense too. We've seen it. Like, that's cool. But you have to know yourself. Yeah. Don't look at what Max is doing. The biggest thing about these motivation stuff and like even mental balance and the positive stuff is we could put that out there for the rest of our lives. But everybody watching still has to live their own life. These captions, these quotes, these conversations, this is not for you to copy and paste. This is for you to use as a guide to your own life, your own road. Because the road I took, you will not take that road. And there's a big thing when we're riding our motorcycles. We say don't follow the man in front of you, because I already see the cars that I'm about to duck and dodge. They're now going to react to my ducking and dodging. You know, when we're doing, you know, our wheelies and all that kind of stuff, and traffic is reacting. The cars in front of me are going to react to me. They're not reacting to you, so you can't follow my path. You got to follow your own path, and you got to set that out. So I can only tell you what I went through. You could, you know, take a mental note. You can use it as, you know, a guideline, but you still got to walk your own path, because you will lose your life or mess up your life following somebody else's, thinking that, oh, they did this, so I got to do this, or they did this, so I got to do that. We've seen it time and time again. We know I know at this table, we know a lot of people have passed away. You have to walk your own path. You cannot follow. So as much as the motivation stuff is super important, because we talk about how we feed our minds. It's super important that you tune into Motivation Monday every Monday, because it's how you feed your mind. You know, we lost track of reading books and stuff. Cool. You don't want to read a book? Cool. Come listen to this and get that. Get the audiobooks. You know.
Talk about using your car as a mobile home. Like, you know, I said,
100%.
All the time. Like, don't be a follower, be a student. What you do, make sure it's a product of your own conclusion, right? With that being said, it's good to listen to Motivation Monday. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that we say, but make sure what you do is a product of your own conclusion. Like, you decided this is the way you're gonna go. This is what works best for us. Us three sitting here, we're just sharing our story, right? Our experience, what we've been through. totally different from who you are or what it is that you're experiencing, right? But maybe there might be aspect on how we handle things that it may seem to fit your life at that particular moment. But you cannot live your life like Ebo, you cannot live your life like my brother here or like myself. And so much that we say every day we should stand guard at the door of our mind, right? Be careful who we allow to intrude our mind. It's not just so much as listening to people, the music, what we watch, like he's talking about feeding yourselves, not just what you eat, it's what you watch, what you listen to. So be very careful who you allow to intrude your mind.
Man, Max be dropping some gems too.
Crazy.
The way he just said,
bro, it's the way how everything flowed. Even me, I was like, you would have thought this was scripted, but
the way he said, like, yo, I can tell you right now, it's so important. This is why, like, it's so important that you actually do surround yourself with people who can not only like feed you but challenge the way you think. So like we're sitting here and everybody might be agreeing in the comments something about, but if you don't agree, yo, you gotta challenge that. Yeah. You gotta challenge that for your mind, because again, there's no right or wrong. There's just perspective, and people have to get out of no, he's wrong. Like I don't have my context, so I can't see the comments, but you know, somebody might disagree with what we're saying right here, and that's fine. But that's a perspective. We're not wrong. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It's my life. It's how I've been living. It's how Max been living. It's how Evon be living. But perspective is like, you know what? I feel you guys. I see where you guys are coming from. I seen this someone's story the other day. The caption said, I feel you. I see where you're coming from. I'm just coming from somewhere else. And that is the realest thing I can tell you. Like, you're not wrong. You're right. There's some things I disagree with. We could chop it up. We could talk about it. But I'm coming from here. So a man who's lived with both his parents all his life can't really tell a man who doesn't have his dad, you know, what A plus B is, because that his A and B is two different A and B's. You know, when we talk about variables, so 1 + 1 is 2, but A plus B is not gonna have to come C to everybody. You know, we're gonna have some gonna skip right to E, F, Z and spin back. You cannot tell people how to live their lives or what's going on. You can only say, hey, like, you know, maybe have you looked at it like this? That's why I don't really entertain conversations with some people who just, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, even when fights happen and you know, the negative results of someone coming out, and you know, I don't really like to judge, you know, CB24, this person died. I don't want to judge the situation because you do not know the mentals that got to that point. Somebody's mind let them go so far that they felt they had to kill someone, which, you know, killing is wrongful fold. I'm just here talking about the mental capacity that drove that person to get to that point. And you don't know, because I tell you right now, I'll stay in front of you guys. You will lose these battles sometimes. Your mind will take you on a roller coaster. And like, I'm just gonna speak in third person, but I had a situation where somebody was like at a point like where he was about to make a bad decision, and it was like God just made it so that his equipment and stuff wasn't working that day. And then he went home and he was like someone just spoke to him and said, yo, that's your one warning. Like, you're not supposed to be doing this right now. Like, that was it. And I said to myself, wow, like, your decisions could change your whole life like that. We could be talking all this positive stuff. Someone could be outside talking a whole bunch of nonsense to me and my mind is weak. We get into altercation and, you know, you don't need weapons. A man could really hurt someone with their hands and accidentally kill this guy. And now you're in a spot. Because your mind, you know, you didn't have that mind power to de-escalate the situation or talk it down. That's why I really, really, really try to be very understanding when things happen, because imagine, like, especially with Instagram and the social media world, like the trolling that has been going on prior to, like, you know, Smoke Dog and all that stuff happening. After Smoke Dog and stuff passed, it's like, you know, you go to his page, there's a lot of trolling going on. And that
doesn't stop.
That dude got like how many brothers? Imagine being one of his brothers sitting at home and you're just seeing all these people troll. You know, every rap song has, you know, there's name in it. Bro, that can eat up your mind. Mentally, that can destroy your mind. And, you know, it might force people to react. And I can't necessarily knock that. Like, there's a lot of mentals that go behind that. So all we can do really is pray for each other. We can speak to each other like this. We can have conversations. We can use our platforms. We can use our resources to help build the community and help other brothers. And, you know, we can extend it to, we don't have to make this a race thing either. We can extend it to everybody, because everybody be going through their own mentals. Doesn't necessarily mean just black people. The reason why we say that is because we're black. I can't speak for a white guy because I'm not white.
It's a culture thing.
It is a culture thing. So I every time I have these conversations too, because there's a lot of people that follow hybrids that aren't black. I don't, like, let's make this clear, like, mental health is not a black thing.
Yeah, it's not a race.
It's not a race thing. It's just because we're black why we're speaking like this from our perspective. But I know some white, like I'm in the army, I know some white guys that are going through it, and in ways that I'm like, whoa, like I couldn't go through that, right? Like I'm Sean, but that's crazy. So that's for the sphere as a whole. And again, when you're reading these posts and you're listening to this conversation, just remember it's for you to start your day off in the right direction. Now you got to dance to your own music. You got to go and tiptoe down the street and do your thing, right? So.
And I want to, we're on live right now on the Mental Balance page, on our Motivation Monday page. We're also live on YouTube Live. The conversation was deep, so I didn't really get to acknowledge it. But, even if the people who are also on the IG Live right now, you can go check it out on the YouTube Live, which is going to be available on Spotify, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. And, I appreciate you for coming. And this conversation is real. It's needed. And, like, bro, Motivation Monday be helping me each and every Monday. You have no idea. Like, so I feel you especially on that because, this life, it gets crazy, bro. It gets crazy. And this battle in our mind that is, that we got to deal with. And there's some questions in the comment. And I'm glad our females are engaging because I like when we talk about men's mental health and our female, because we can't speak from a female's perspective. So, Ashley has a question. She says, why do men feel like it's a weakness to express their feelings or show emotions?
Let me make a comment real clear, okay? I'm gonna tell this to all the women in the world, really. I believe it full throttle. I could be wrong, but a man's success really has a lot to do with the women that he keeps in his life. I promise you that. So that being said, some men have definitely had an experience with some women. I'm sure. Like I've had experience with some women that like are not very open to the emotional stuff, or they don't really make you feel comfortable saying all that stuff. Not to mention, again, with what we feed ourselves with the rap music and stuff, it's not new. Like there's some women who are great women and really speak into our souls and really bring us to life, and there's some who are just not, right? So as a man, naturally, we're just trying to seem very dominant and very alpha, and some of those feelings are associated with the unfortunate betas and stuff like that, right? That's just what we've been taught for so long. So
social construct. That's the short form. I'll say is our social construct, and it's all about reprogramming. I'll say is like to the women with kids or like that. It's okay. Like some of us growing up to say we shouldn't cry, we shouldn't show emotions, but the longer we continue this kind of ideology, the longer we deal with this long term. So a lot of men growing up now feel like I can't show this side of me because I'm showing it's weak. And then it's not just on men. Women are also maybe constructed that you should laugh at men who does such. So if you have younger siblings or sons, that it's okay to show emotions, and hopefully down the line we can get rid of this ideology that we have about men shouldn't show emotions. It's okay to show emotions. It's part of being a human.
And we also can't really be hypocrites too. Like let's look at Drake, for instance. And I love Drake. His music's amazing, but I love him because he didn't really change and he stayed true to who he was as that emotional type of guy. But again, look at that. Like we troll, we laugh a little bit. Everyone's like, oh, you listen to Drake. Don't Drake and drive because you can end up at your ex's house. That type of emotional stuff, right? That stuff is. It's all fun and games and jokes, but that's how we feel. We feel like if you're, the R&B type or you're singing all this stuff that you're soft, you're not the A-type male that most women will probably want, right? So it feeds into our heads and stuff, and, it kind of stems back to the whole men want, or women want men with, the finances and all that stuff, and then the men go out, try to get the finances, and the finances come by doing the dirt, and then the dirt. It's all a cycle that we kind of have to work on together as a community. Not just men. Nobody's wrong here. We just have to break some cycles and stuff like that. So, good question.
And I love when you ask a question and you hear the answer. Let us know in the comments, whether it's on the YouTube Live or here with the thumbs up, to let us know if you understand where we're coming from, or if we up. She gave it right away, so there we go. And that's why these conversations.
But thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to capture it and share it after. But I love the conversation, and I feel like sometimes like Do you ever feel like sometimes that men, they're forced to like have to hide it only because they don't want to show the weakness? Because once they show that weakness, then a female can look at them another way and make decisions just like that.
Oh yeah. Listen, like we could go for days about this stuff, but the reality is, you know, and it's not just women. Let's think about it like this. Let's forget the women and male thing right now. You show anyone weakness right off once. That like if I know I can punk you once, you're getting punked. That's for everyone. Like people take advantage of people. So a lot of people nowadays are just trying to like conserve that. Like they don't want to show that they can be taken advantage of. They can be walked on. They can be trolled because you let it happen once and it just rolls. People will take the rope. You can give people a little rope. They're gonna take the whole thing, and that's the world nowadays, right? So it's better. And I will always tell you guys this: when you're looking at me with mental balance and hybrids, I'm still human, so I can promote all this stuff, but I'm still gonna also reserve myself. Not everybody's gonna get the energy that I'm gonna give out with the, you know, the kind wolf, or you know, the perspective wolf, the balance wolf. Sometimes you're gonna get your energy. You can't be around me. You can't. You know, you gotta stay over there. That's okay to say as well. Like we have to really start understanding that not everybody's for you. Not everybody's for. You can't let everybody in your life. You know, as a male. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just like the last years really starting to learn that about females. Like, can't let every female around you. You can't let every female have your space or your time, the conversation. You gotta protect your energy. You gotta protect yourself. Like, I only started learning that because I took the time to really stand. I'm like, there's a lot of people that been coming around doing this, doing that. What are their motives? What are their intentions? And then you sit back and when you start explaining certain things or how you feel, you get a different response. Or like the response is very like, you know, push it to the side kind of thing. So I started to see like, you can't give out so much energy and time to people because it's not always gonna be reciprocated. And that being said, when we talk about men holding back their feelings, it's because of that too. Because the thing is, just like when you put in the army, we say this all the time: be careful what you post pictures of what we're doing because it's there for life. Once you put out your feelings to someone, they have that. I don't honestly, for a while, I didn't like texting people because they have that. They have that text of you crying, you laying out your emotions, and people copy and paste and send it to other people. It's a nasty world we live in. So a lot of men are just protected. Like for a while, like I was FaceTiming everybody like I was a professional drug dealer. Like I'm not talking to on the phone unless I can see you because I don't trust who you're around. I'm crying to you. You got me on speaker. Your friends are in the back. Oh, this is the big bad wolf crying right here. Like I didn't want that. A lot of men feel that way. A lot of people, a lot of women. I don't want you to have a text of me laying out my emotions. We get into an issue now, and now you're copying and pasting saying, oh yeah, that tough guy? Yo, look at this, look at this, look at this. That's the world we live in, like the receipt world. Everybody wants to have a receipt of who they used to know, who they used to mess with. You know, oh, I know him different. Oh, he was saying this, he was saying that, but he's really feeling like this. Yeah, of course you're gonna hear me say some like, you know, I don't care about nothing, and then somebody's gonna have a text about me saying I care about everything. We're human, and I think people they forget that like we're all human and we're all trying to find a way. And as we get older, we start to see that age really has nothing to do with it. Like you got to go through some experiences to get some kind of knowledge, to get some kind of background. Because then I know people who are 31, and just like we know 40-year-old virgins, like. There's people who have not been through a damn thing, and there's people who are 16 who could probably show us up right now with like their mentals and how far they've gone, right? So my big thing is protect your space, protect your energy. It's okay to say no. It's definitely okay to say no to everything. You know, we all talk about women saying no, but men say no too. Yeah. Men say no too. Say nah. It's not one of those like.
No to others is yes to yourself.
Yeah, 100%. This guy Max just comes out.
He throws me off too because you hear the reaction. I'm like,
I spoke for 20 minutes and I didn't get no. But Max says 3 words and I'm. Max said 3 words and I'm here like, okay, all right, Max, you want to say some more?
I wanna use this time to put our affirmation out for today, and of course, today's topic and conversation is based on mental health, and November is the month. November is the month for men's mental health, and even though the month's coming to an end, these conversations still need to happen. I feel like in your inner circle, in your friends, like we gotta be able to check up on people, and like even people need to understand that if someone gets their space, like you don't have to speak to them every day. You know what I mean? I think as the older we get, we need to be able to be like, all right, cool. Like, I don't have to talk to you every day to know that we still have that real relationship, or I can come check on you, because everyone's going through what they're going through. So I want to put this positive affirmation out there for everybody, and then I'll repeat it again and we'll talk about it. So our affirmation today is: healing is possible for me. I am enough. I am not my diagnosis. My diagnosis will not define my life. I can challenge my negative thoughts with positive ones. And I'll repeat that again. Healing is possible for me. I am enough. I am not my diagnosis. My diagnosis will not define my life. I can challenge my negative thoughts with positive ones. So let's have a conversation about that affirmation. And I think the word possibility, sometimes people think it's not possible when it really is.
Listen, you gotta believe. I mentioned before, anything you're doing in life, your mind has to arrive there first. So you have to believe. Look at, like, I'm sure Michael Jordan got cut from his
high school team.
I think that story will live on for generations and generations to come. That could have easily went the left. He could have gave up and said, "Yo, it's done," but he didn't. He kept going. He believed in himself. You have to believe. There's no point in doing anything if you don't believe it at this point. Like, if you don't think, I tell this to young clothing line people who always ask me how it's gonna go. Hybrid's doing well, but there's people who know I put out some stuff that haven't done well, and the money was spent, the clothes is at the house, the inventory's there, and it was early too when we didn't have money like that to really do that. So I could have sat in and like, this is not it. And when, I'll be honest with you, when Hybrids first started and my brother brought it to me, I was not a good friend to him about it. Like, I felt like, your rapper friend. And
I didn't even notice that. This is crazy.
Yeah. When it first, you know what? I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. So we have a new line eventually coming out called the Lone Wolf, and the Lone Wolf is because I had got his phone, his MacBook when everything happened, and I was going through the texts, and real sad. He was speaking to his girlfriend at the time, and he was saying like, I feel like Omar doesn't really believe in this. I feel like I'm alone in it, and I don't feel like he really wants to do it. So I'm just gonna do the Lone Wolf thing, and I'm gonna start a Lone Wolf brand. Crazy that was in the notes. I had to read that. I had to swallow that, and now I'm the Lone Wolf. Like, looking at how, when we talk about life and how it goes full circle and how it spins, when I say to you, you have to sit back and digest and say, this happened how it was supposed to happen. Reading that text, I have it framed and everything. Reading that was that's my motivation now. I never really believed in it because, a lot of people are doing clothing lines. Pandemic brought a bunch of clothing lines out, the woodworks. Everybody wants to brand their stuff, and do what you got to do. Kudos to you. So I was very realistic. I was in school. I was in the army. I was very like systematic. Like, this how it has to go. This how it has to go. No like entrepreneur stuff. So when he was doing it, I wasn't really believing it. I thought, okay, it's another rapper idea. Like, everybody wants to be a rapper. So I wasn't really that supportive. Now looking at it, I eat, breathe, and sleep that stuff. Like, I believe my clothing brand is gonna be. To me, it is one of the best out of Toronto right now, personally.
Facts.
I feel like it's going to get even better with what we got coming and stuff like that. But that belief is what keeps me going. It's not about the sales. It's not about... I have to believe in it. Full throttle. Because remember, this entrepreneur is scary because there's no guarantee. You can sell 2 sweaters today, sell none tomorrow, and bills are due the next day. It's very, very scary. So you have to believe, and that is part of the game. And when we say charge it to the game, that game is life. You want to do great things in life, there's going to be some scary and I tell you, I took a line of credits, maxed out line of credits to make sure the close is funded and going. And when the sales don't happen immediately, but the credit statement comes, that stuff is scary because you're looking at like a 20K. And it's like, when you think about 20 grand nowadays and you think about the down payment on the house and stuff, you're like, why am I... Remember, that 20, if you put into the close, could turn into 60 or it can turn into nothing. So should I be putting the 20 into the house and just call it a day, or should I risk the 20 and put it into the clothing line to turn into 60, right? So those fears are everything, and not believing in yourself, not believing that you're capable, not believing that you're enough will have you sitting there doing nothing with your life. You have to wake up, and it's good to read affirmations like that. There's so many books that you can buy that are just daily reads. If you don't like to read, I didn't like to read in the beginning, I love it now, but daily reads, just quick, like, yo, you got this, you're enough. There's an Instagram page I've been posting lately. It's inappropriate in a sense, but it's like, every nigga deserves this kind of shit. It's like, the page is called Every Nigga. It's crazy. has like 1 million something followers, but they post some quality stuff. It's just that if you kind of erase the nigga part, you'll see what they're really trying to say. And one of the ones they posted was like, yeah, every nigga, I posted yesterday, he's like, every nigga deserves to live life without regret. And that hit me. Because I live life every day regretting even how the night took place. When I say like, you know, my brother got taken and they were asking for the money and going through that, there's so many decisions I could have made better that his life might have still been here. And I had to live with that every day. So some days I say, yo, I'm not worth it. Like, I'm not enough. Like, I'm not as bad as I think I am, or this or that, because I made terrible decisions. But life is like that. You gotta wake up and understand that you're gonna make bad decisions. We're not done making our bad decisions. We're gonna make decisions that cost us more than we would like it to cost us. We're gonna make decisions that you can never take back. That's when we say charge it to the game. That's life. You hope you learn. You know, smart people learn from their mistakes. Smarter people learn from other people's mistakes. But you're gonna learn one way or another. You're gonna learn the hard way. You're gonna learn. That's on you. But don't think that you made a mistake and life is done. You gotta get up and like, okay, I made this mistake. Acknowledge it. Appreciate it. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the mistake you made. Like, take time with yourself. Be nice to yourself. Because yes, other people in my DMs trolling me and stuff like that hurts. But nothing hurts more than me going to bed and looking at myself in the mirror and saying, yo, you messed up. Like, you can't escape your own mind. You telling yourself you messed up, it hurts a lot more. So you got to be nice to yourself. You got to wake up. You got to believe you're enough, like the affirmation said. And you got to not be a victim of your circumstances. You got to can I finally get one of those?
Nah, and yo, the diamonds are coming. You haven't seen the diamonds.
Yo, I need one of these. I can't see the comments, but I don't know if I'm saying the right thing.
Nah, the diamonds are there, man. They're giving it to you. I'll read some right now. This is so good. You're right. In order to survive, we got to learn to live with regrets. They're dying. Do what you love and love what you do.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, the support has been coming from both angles.
Sorry, I can't see nothing. So yeah, like it's hard, and I want everyone in the lives and everyone who eventually see this, find a friend or find someone you don't know. Honestly, the people you don't know is great too. I have a lot of conversation with people I don't know, but speak to somebody and speak life into them, and they'll speak life into you, and start your day. But first and foremost, you gotta get out of your bed and believe in yourself. Like,
you versus you.
You know, Migs has it, right? The me versus me thing. That stuff is not a game. You are your biggest competition. So when all else fails, you gotta look yourself in the mirror. That's why the capping and the faking on Instagram is cool for everyone watching, but the person who's doing it still has to look at themselves in the mirror. And that stuff slaps you in the face when you got that, you know, the $1,000 jeans on, $1,000 shoes, but you're not really saying much elsewhere. Like you know that. It doesn't matter what we know. You know that. So when you're believing in, you're putting the belief in the negative areas, and you believe in a little too much, you also got to check yourself too, and that's the balance. Because you don't want to believe the lies. The worst person you can lie to is yourself. So you start believing your own lies, you gone way too far. So you got to like believe, but make sure you're checking yourself as well. And that's why we talk about Motivation Mondays and mental balance and this affirmation, but also check yourself. Believe in stuff, but don't, like, be realistic too. Like, I can't get up tomorrow and say I'm gonna be an NBA basketball player. Like, I feel like we gotta start checking ourselves a little bit too. Like, there's things you can do, and you know what you can do. You know what you can do, and there's things that you're kind of uncertain that you can do. Okay, put a little bit more belief into that. And there's stuff you know you shouldn't be doing and can't do. So don't play that game with yourself, right? Like, I still have to give you the real, and still have to say, yo, that's what hybrid's about. Yeah, good that you have a belief, good that you are trying to do something in life, but look at that balance. Like, can you do this? Can you make it happen without, you know, hurting yourself or hurting someone else, or, you know, and weigh out all the pros and cons. And if you feel like jumping off the cliff to do this is the thing to do, then don't jump, or run off of it, or run right off of it, because you only live once. And I didn't believe in hybrids. If any of you guys go to that page right now, we're sitting strong at, you know, 6K plus followers, and our comments and our engagement. Shout out to my marketing team, who's amazing. But I didn't believe, when I say I see this clothing line now, and I was like, wow, this is, if I had the belief I have now when he was here, that's what really regrets me. It's like, I wish he could have seen me go so hard for his brand the way I go now. And that hurts me. So, I mean, belief is everything, right?
And I commend you for coming on, and just make sure we get this good, because your people are coming. I was in that live.
That's not our live on his there, but
we'll get ready to wrap it up real quick. Oh, the IBO is doing the most and I start touching these. Social media is getting crazy nowadays.
It's a new phone. You gotta take time with that.
My bad, brother. But yes, don't watch my hand here. But let the people know where they can find you on social media as well too.
So for the clothing line, if you follow hybrid_garbs, again hybrid_garbs for the clothing line. Mental Balance is my mental health page. You got to take time with that page though, because I'm not posting things to stay relevant. I don't care about the algorithms and that I need more followers on that. My mental health page, I post when I feel like posting, and to keep it real and to keep it like to be very honest on that page. And there's days where I don't even care I have to have that page. Some days I want to delete it. I look back at some of the videos, I'm like, why did I say that? Like, why was I so open? And that's what the page is there for. So you might not see me post stuff for a while on it. Everybody's all saying you need to post more. I can't, because like this is real life for me. Like, it's not that I didn't create that page for the likes or for the numbers. Like, that page was really just there for me to express how I felt on certain days. And there are a lot of days, a lot of weeks go by where I'm strong, so I don't really need to post too much on that. But when I get down and I feel hurt, I'm like, dang, like I should have posted this to Mental Balance. So I kind of spin back on it. My personal page, obviously Wolf_the Alpha. But more importantly for me, I don't care about my personal. That stuff, hybrids, is how I keep my brother's name alive, how we keep the legacy going. So I would love everyone to follow hybrid_garbs, and the rest of the stuff, we'll make it happen along the way.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, my brother. I think this is a perfect way to end off the month. And like I said, it's not just about the month of November. You got to deal with mental health each and every month, each and every day. The battle within your mind, you got to deal with it. So the minute we accept stuff, and I love that you pointed that out, that you can't fake the funk. At the end of the day, you got to live your reality. At the end of the day, you got to deal with what you know is going on. You can probably portray it in a different way, but at the end of the day, you know what it is. And this platform is about educating people on their purpose, passion, understanding self and finances. So I think we touched on all of that. And we'll have another episode as well too later on where we break down like the entrepreneurship aspect of the clothing brand. But I wanted to touch more on the mindset, and the conversation went great. Max, I don't know if you have anything to say after that too.
Like always, we're just here sharing their information and just to hear from other people's experience. Maybe other people can relate more, connect more. But that's what life is all really is about. We all have our own journey. Like, we share from a different perspective. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, our point of view is we're looking through a dirty window, right? A window that's dirty, and it's like he said earlier, is like talking to people who only agree with you is like walking on a desert. You need that challenge. You need to see on the other side, because whatever it is that you're going through is only from your point of view, your perspective. So it's always good to have a brother here share his experience and share his some of the things that he went through with us. So to Motivation Monday family and to his family, thank you guys for supporting and showing love. We really appreciate it.
And we want to give you kudos to your new spot as well too. So we got to put it. And the people in the comments, they're letting it know. They're like, we got to put it out there. But that's why I said we'll get into that conversation later.
Well, we could definitely have a whole live with the entrepreneur stuff and the fears with all that. But I definitely want to shout out to my two partners who helped me open Affluent Toronto. It's getting a little cold outside, but summer is gonna be crazy for sure. It's gonna be nice, so we'll make some stuff happen there. Maybe we could take this conversation there
live and direct. We can do it. We can talk about live show too. So
yeah.
I know that Wavy would he's always been talking about we gotta get the live show going on. So there it is right there. So
100%.
We'll make it happen. But appreciate you for coming out, my people. Make sure you guys tap in. After this, we're gonna save this. This will be available on all. Wherever you stream your podcast, any platform is going to be there. It's also going to be on the YouTube page. I'm going to also post this on my page too. I think this conversation was needed. It's necessary. I learned a lot. I'm about to get on the plane and get to Africa, but I have a new set and relief of how I'm going to get on that plane and get my stuff going. And
must be nice. Must be nice.
He said he's out of here.
Must be nice.
We working. But everybody's working. So don't worry. We're gonna get to it. And kudos to you, bro. Happy holidays from now. New Year 2022. We have another year by the grace of God to be great, and blessings to all of my people here. You guys are all my brothers. We know each other for years, and we're all grinding. So love you so much.